What's up, Freedom Family? In this video, we're gonna summarize The Power of Your Subconscious Mind by Joseph Murphy. And this is one of my favorite subjects, not just one of my favorite books, but one of my favorite subjects in the world, because at the end of the day, your subconscious mind is what is in control. It's what's allowing you to act and behave how you're acting and behaving on a regular basis. Now, our conscious mind is extremely powerful, but if we can't learn to use our conscious mind to program our subconscious mind, we end up in this state where we don't achieve many of the things that we want, because what we're doing is we're thinking about what we want, but our actions and behaviors are misaligned because our subconscious is actually in control. But when we can program our subconscious mind to take the actions and behave the way we want, we automatically start to attract what we want. We automatically start to do the things we knew we needed to do in order to get the things that we want. So that's what we're gonna do in this video. We'll be back in a second. All right, so before we get into this video, if you like this content, leave a fire emoji, leave me a comment, hit the bell notification to be updated on the next video, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Now, first part of this book is all about how the subconscious mind is suggestible. We can create suggestions for the mind, and then over time, the subconscious mind will start to believe these suggestions. And until the subconscious mind actually accepts these suggestions, it will push them away and it will stay the same. The old subconscious will still be in control. We won't be able to reprogram our mind to act and behave in a different way. Now, you've probably had the experience of trying to ride a bike and you're consciously trying to do it and it's just not working, or learning to drive a car and it's really hard at first, but eventually you start to drive the car home and you don't even remember how you got there. Your subconscious was doing the whole work, and your conscious mind was actually thinking about whatever else you wanted to do. So you started to do it automatically. Now, what we want to do with our subconscious is we want to program it to, just like we drive the car, to go towards our dreams and manifest what we want. To do that, we have to start to repeat these things through our conscious into our subconscious. This is why things like affirmations are so powerful. When we start to tell ourselves we are the greatest ... or we are the thing that we want to be, and we start to repeat that over and over again, our subconscious eventually starts to believe it. When we start to visualize the thing that we want over and over and over again and really believe in it, we start to see it everywhere. Our reticular activating system starts to see the people and the circumstances that are going to help us achieve that, and that's at a subconscious level. So in order to start to reprogram our subconscious mind, we have to reprogram the way we are consciously thinking. Now, here's the thing. If on a regular basis you're talking to yourself in a negative way and you're constantly putting that into your subconscious, it's going to be harder to start thinking positively, which means we actually have to start setting up habits and behaviors to do these things on a regular basis. This is why I did something like the perfect day exercise, and I would read it every morning and every night, because I wanted to manifest that life. Why do you do it in the morning and at night? Because these are the most suggestible times of the day. When you do it in the morning and it's the first thing you put in your mind, you start to think about it. It starts to dominate your thoughts throughout the day. When you do it right before bed, while you're dreaming, these are the things that are on your mind, and you start to problem solve at a subconscious level. So on a regular basis, you have to be asking yourself, what is it that you want? And then what can I start putting into my mind in order to get that? How can I start changing the negative thoughts to positive thoughts? How can I do this stuff on a conscious level so that my subconscious starts to take over? Just like when you're driving the car and it's hard at first, it's gonna be a little bit annoying and you're gonna have to try a lot, but then as you start to break through that, it starts to be so simple and it just starts to flow. So in the next part of the book, he kind of expands on this positive and negative thinking thing and how we can start to use this positive thinking to reprogram our negative thought patterns. Now, the thing that we have to understand about the human mind is it focuses more on negative than positive at a default level. And this is because as we evolved for so many thousands of years, it was very important to see the things that could be damaging to us, to be more fearful of them. And if we weren't, we would eat the wrong food, or we wouldn't know what was going on in the tribe, or we wouldn't be scared when the saber-toothed tiger was about to jump out from the bushes, and then we would get killed a lot easier. So our brain had to get wired to see those things a lot more because it was a lot more dangerous environment. Now, we don't live in that dangerous environment, but our brain still works the same way at a default level. But we can reprogram it, which is amazing. So we can start to replace those negative, fearful thoughts with positive ones. And we have to start to actually see some truth within reality, which means if we're growing a business or about to start a business and we're really scared to start the business, we have to realize there isn't actually anything to fear. Even though our brain still is wired for those old times, there's not a lot of fear because there's safety nets everywhere in this modern world we live in. The worst thing that's gonna happen is you might go bankrupt. Okay, whatever. There's gonna be a safety net where you can then build it back. There's never gonna be anything that's gonna happen so bad like it did in those older times. If you ate the wrong food and you didn't have the ability to go to a doctor to get fixed, then you would just die. So there was a lot more scary things that happened. If you cut open your leg or whatever, it was not the same times we live in where it was just an easy fix. So our brain's wired that way, but you can reprogram it by positively using your brain and using these affirmations and using these visualizations of what you truly want and just dominating your thoughts with that your subconscious mind can no longer even deal with fear because your mind is so positive most of the time. And at the end of the day, you're still gonna have fearful thoughts come up. You're still gonna have some human things come up. So I'm not saying you're ever gonna be 100% positive. I'm not saying you necessarily should be. But it'd be nice to have 90% of the time being in a positive mind state and 10% maybe negative, instead of at 90% negative and a 10% positive. So we're always just trying to move towards the higher scale, the higher vibrational scale most of the time, and then sinking back in to some of those negative states sometimes, just so we can feel into it, and then we can transmute it into a different understanding of the world, empathy, compassion, by maybe looking through somebody else's eyes and seeing their pain so we can try to help and solve these problems. Which leads us to the third section, which is visualization and passion can truly help us achieve tremendous results in the physical world. Now, the reason behind this is if you don't have a lot of passion for what you do, and Steve Jobs talks about this all the time, you're not gonna push through the hard times. If you don't truly have passion for what you want, if you're not visualizing those dreams of what you want to achieve, then pushing through hard times is gonna seem kind of pointless. Like, why am I going through so much pain? But when you have so much passion to change the world in a certain way, to make an impact in a certain way, whatever ends up coming up that's a challenge and a thing that you're gonna have to break through, becomes something where you're like, I have to do this no matter what. Like, I care way too much about what I'm trying to do to let this little roadblock do anything to me, to let it affect me. And we start to realize when we're so passionate about something that getting through those challenges just builds us into the type of person that we need to become anyways. And at the end of the day, it's who we become and it's who we be that resonates the frequency that's gonna attract those things anyways. So if we can't get over those challenges, those universal tests, then we don't deserve the thing that we want because we gave up. But if we don't have the passion for it, why are we gonna wanna do it? So when we start to align our heart, and our passion and our drive and our soul with that intellectual thought of what we want and those imaginations and those visualizations, we become almost unstoppable because no matter what comes up, we're gonna figure out a way to solve the problem. If we don't have the passion, we're just not gonna care. We're not gonna wanna go through the hard times. We're just gonna kind of sit there and let it happen to us. We're gonna be a victim to reality. And we never ever wanna be in that situation. So in the fourth section, he talks about how to use your subconscious mind to guide your choices and also attract the type of partner you want in your life. And this can be an intimate partner, but it can also be a business partner, and it can be friends and the people that you want to surround yourself with. And this is something I talk about all the time on the channel. It's who we be that attracts who we want. And if we're just visualizing what we want, but our actions are not aligned with that person that we want to be, then we are incongruent, we aren't aligned. And people will feel that. People will feel incongruence. You will say one thing, but your actions are the opposite. Or you are doing all these different things and it's all random and you're just getting random results. So if we truly want to attract the type of people we want in our lives, and a lot of people will do this the opposite way, which is if they want to attract a partner, they say, I want that type of woman, I want that type of person in my life. And they never decode who it is they need to be to attract that person. Instead, they just want something for nothing. They want the better thing, but they don't want to do the hard work to become the person they need to be to attract them. But our subconscious mind can become what we want. We just have to program it. So if we want a type of partner in our life, let's write out who that person is and all the traits they have and their values and all the things that we really want. And then let's write out who we need to be in order to attract that person. And let's get into detail with it. Who does that person want in their life? And then let's become that. And then let's not be looking for that person anymore. Let's just be the person that's gonna resonate at that frequency. So everywhere you go, you're gonna start to attract those types of people into your life. And it seems like such a simple thing if you really think about it, but our brains are really wired to want instant gratification. We want the thing without doing the hard work. We wanna get the six pack, but we don't wanna do the gym every day. We don't want to eat healthy. We don't want to do the things that are the real work. But when we start to program our conscious mind with what we truly want, and we read these things every day, and we affirm this to ourselves every day, and we use this insane brain of ours, and we tune it to those frequencies, because at the end of the day, your brain is a receiver of frequency. It's also an emitter of frequency. If we start to tune our minds to these things and our whole state, then we start to attract it from all angles, and it almost seems like it's magic. You can't even explain it anymore. It just keeps happening over and over and over, and it's because who you are being. So in section number 5, he talks about how we can choose to be happy, and we can choose to lose our negative thoughts. And I think this is a really important distinction, because it's not just about thinking consciously about what we want, it's also knowing that we can do that. And it's also letting go of being a victim to this reality and stopping ourselves from saying it's that person's fault, it's these circumstances' fault, it's where I was born, it's where I was raised, it's blah, blah, blah. All of these different things we tell ourselves in order to make us feel better that we're not achieving and having the life we want. So if we constantly tell ourselves, I'm depressed, I'm unhappy, the world is against me, blah, 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 we will start to see more of that. We'll program ourselves deeper and deeper at a subconscious level to be more depressed and to be more negative. Now, it's not gonna be a 180 shift where out of nowhere you're gonna just be like super positive and super happy all the time. It's one step at a time. We talked about it before. It's habit, gravity, escape, velocity. When you first launch the rocket, it burns up 80% of its fuel to get out of the atmosphere. And then it uses the other 20% to go where it needs to go. Once you have really blasted off at the beginning, where you're starting to switch these negative thoughts into positive thoughts, then you're gonna start to be happy as a default. But at first, you have to put a lot of conscious effort into choosing to be happy, into choosing to be grateful. And here's a very important distinction of emotions, which is it's really easy to feel fear. It happens automatically. But to be grateful is a practice. It's a meta-conscious emotion. So you actually have to think about thinking to induce gratitude. Now, eventually you get to the point where you just start being grateful all the time, and it's happening at a subconscious level. But at first, if you're not using your meta emotions, you have to consciously use them. So you have to think, wow, I'm so grateful for that tree or those leaves because they are feeding me oxygen. I'm so happy that the universe loves me so much to beat my heart for me without thinking. But if we don't think about those things, we're not just gonna automatically feel that gratitude. So we actually have to use our conscious mind to induce a state of gratefulness, and we have to do that over and over and over again, and then it starts to become hard not to be happy. Because how can you not appreciate the fact that you were born a human being, that you were one of the millions of sperm that got through, and that's happened generation after generation after generation, and somehow you, this miraculous being, is here. If you can't feel gratitude after thinking about that, then it's something you're gonna have to practice over and over and over again. But really think about all the things that you can be grateful for on a regular basis, and then you start to become happy as a default. If you don't do this, you're gonna allow your default to be your primal responses to the environment. And those primal responses are not usually going to be positive, because like we talked about, your brain is wired to think and be negative twice as often as being positive, because the environments we grew up in, you had to be more pessimistic to stay alive. That was your survival responses. Now you can be much more free to allow your conscious mind to dream and explore and program yourself into whoever you want to be, to experience the world however you want to experience it. So in the 6th section, he talks about how to replace fears with positive thoughts so we can overcome obstacles and stay young. Now this is crazy, because really, when we're in these negative states most of the time, we get a negative vibrational frequency emitting through the body, and we age faster. I get a lot of people telling me now, wow, you look really young for your age. And I'm just turning 33, and that feels really good. And I actually look back at some of my pictures from 8, 9 years ago, and I'm like, wow, I feel like I'm almost like getting younger. Now, of course, there's other things happening. I know I'm aging, I can feel it, I'm a human being, but my vibration throughout my body feels young. I still play, I still do sports, I keep my mind positive. My grandma always used to tell me, never stop moving. She's 96 years old, and she's just like, just don't stop moving. Stay positive, have faith. All these like very simple principles and values that I've like embodied because of her. And it makes so much sense to me. We can actually replace these fear responses with positive thoughts. We can actually see an obstacle as a learning experience. Instead of ever saying, I failed, it's like, no, I either win or I learn. I win or I learn. I never fail. When you have that mindset that you never fail, that means you just learn from whatever that obstacle was that stopped you from getting the outcome you wanted. But you never failed. There's no such thing as failure. Failure is actually a human-made concept. If you really think about it, failure is a human-made word. What is failure? Failure is just feedback. Feedback is just something that you get from an action you've taken, and the physical environment or whatever it is gave you feedback saying that you could not get the result you wanted at this current time. And then you ask yourself, why is that I couldn't get that? Oh, I needed to tweak this. Okay, boom, you try it the next time and you didn't fail. You just got feedback. So you either win or you learn. If you can train your mind to think like that, no matter what, I am winning. Because if I didn't win and get exactly what I wanted, I learned the lesson I needed to learn to get it the next time. And maybe, not only that, maybe now you become better than the person who got it the first time, because the person who got it the first time might have got it, but it might have even been a little bit lucky. And now you've got some more experience and understanding of it, so you're actually gonna maybe get it more and better the next time than the person who got it the first time. You really gotta think about these things. And then think about every obstacle and every failure is that feedback to build yourself into a stronger person. And I love weightlifting. Why do I love weightlifting? Why do I love boxing? Why do I love these things? Because I love to get at the point where I have to learn because I didn't win. I love to get to the point where I've pushed my muscles to exhaustion and they fail, right? But no, what do? They just get to a point where they've broken down to the level where I can now get stronger for the next day. So that failure is just feedback for the muscular system to grow so it can be stronger the next time. This is why I respect people so much who are willing to go out there and just do so much and learn so much through the experience of taking action in the world, of getting that feedback, so they develop themselves into the type of character who can actually achieve almost anything. It's those types of people that truly do change the world. It's not the people who have the visualization of what they want and get it easier, because usually even if they did do that, it's probably not something very revolutionary. The ones who are truly changing the world are the ones who have great grand visions. They take action every single day. They're constantly making mistakes. They're constantly getting feedback. They're learning every single day. They're developing their characters into such a highly conscious person who's seen it all, basically. And they can then just like apply that same system over and over again, and then they can train and teach other people to do the same. Then they can build teams and armies of incredible people who think this way, and then they can make impact in this world beyond. They achieve what most people would take 50 years to achieve in one lifetime because of this mindset. All right, guys, so that is the summary of the power of your subconscious mind. If you got a lot of value from this video, leave a fire emoji, leave me a comment, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and just really remember, if you want to change your life, you have to change your subconscious thoughts. And once you change your subconscious thoughts, your actions will start to change and you'll start to automatically get more of the things you want. So number one, visualize what you want. Ask yourself, who do I need to become to get that? Start to train your conscious mind to every day start to program your subconscious mind to act and behave the way it needs to act and behave in order to get that life. And then everything starts to change. But never have an instant gratification mindset, thinking I'm just gonna consciously think about what I want one day and then the law of attraction will take over. No, this is a practice. And it's a daily practice, and the more you do it every day, and the more you start to train your mind this way, the more your subconscious mind will get trained faster and faster. Over time, you just start to become the person who resonates at that frequency, and there's just no chance that the universe can't give you what you want. The universe will bow down to what your subconscious mind wants, and you will just start to achieve things at a level that you may have never truly thought was possible. We'll see you guys soon.